Bitch, you let me on my own. Ay, onto that dirty now.
What's up, guys? Peace. How's it going? Let's talk about and discuss NXT for November the 15th, 2022. This episode of NXT was, for the most part, decent. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not the fun NXT of old with NXT 2.0, but it's doable and it's watchable. So I want to start off with the match announcement that Shawn Michaels made last night. I'm going to start with that, and then from there we'll go into the review from there. So he announced that there's going to be not one but two Iron Survivor Challenge matches. And the winner, they'll be the Iron Survivor, and they'll also be the new number one contender. And they can challenge for either the NXT title or the NXT women's title. So right off the bat, I'm loving this. It seems kind of interesting. So it's going to be 5 superstars. They're going to compete. And 2 superstars will start the match. Every 5 minutes, a new superstar will enter until all 5 are in. The goal is to have the most falls before the clock hits 25 minutes. Now, I don't like the fact that a new superstar comes in every 5 minutes. I really don't like that. Because if you come in last, you're basically fucked. If you come in dead last, you're fucked. So you're going to have better chances if you're like the first 2 in, or even like the number 3, you know. So you can only win falls by either pinfall, submission, or disqualification. And that can happen at any time. They can be called at any time. So when a superstar wins, they get a point. If they lose a fall, they're forced out. They hit a penalty box, so they go into a penalty box for 90 seconds. I don't like that because it's too similar to King of the Mountain from Impact. I don't like that. And then whoever has the most falls within 25 minutes, they win. So on paper, it seems okay, but we'll have to see how it plays out at NXT Deadline. I'm interested in this. I'm interested to see who are going to be the 5-minute women in these 2 Iron Survivor matches, and I look forward to it. You know, this is interesting. I do hope for the men that Carmelo Hayes and Grayson Waller, they're in. I hope that. And so I'd be fine if one of those 2 win. Like, if Grayson Waller wins, I'm fine. If Carmelo Hayes wins, I'm fine. For the women, it's kind of hard for me. It just is. I don't know who they could put in there. I know they could put Roxanne Perez in there and Indy Hartwell. But who are the other 3 they could put in there? But those are just the 2 off the top of my head for the women, and the 2 for the men that they could do, which probably will end up happening anyway. All right, moving on. So we actually kicked the show off with a okay match involving Von Wagner versus Bron Breakker for the NXT Championship. This was an okay match. This was actually one of Von Wagner's, and I'm going to put this in quotations, best match that he's had in his entire time at NXT. I'm going to be serious. You know, I'm not going to bullshit you. This was decent. It was. In the end, Braun wins via a spear. So I like this. He'll probably get another shot by being involved in the Iron Survivor match. Moving on. So Alba Fyre, she has a message for Mandy Rose. She says everything close to Rose will burn down, and tonight the toxic empire will come to an end. Fyre declares she'll be the last woman standing, and she'll be the new NXT Women's Champion. And that did not happen. It didn't. So, Bron Breakker, he's not done. He's backstage. And so, he looks at his title belt. JD McDonough, he appears out of nowhere. And JD congratulates him, and he says, "You'll never beat me, right?" And he dips out. And he'll probably be another guy added into the Iron Survivor match as well. Oh my God. Then we had Zoe fucking Stark cut one of the worst promos I've ever heard in my life. This shit was awful. Awful. Oh my God. I don't even want to go over everything she said. So she basically, I'm just going to do bullet points. So she talked about being on the shelf for 9 months. When she came back, she was like a bat out of hell. She had a meeting with management saying that it was going to be a tag tournament. And her partner ended up being Nikita Lyons. And so, she mentioned she got injured from wrestling Mandy Rose. And she also said that she put Lyons on her back. And she was carrying her when she returned to action. And then all she asked for was Lyons to take a fraction of the work to lighten the load just a bit. But all she got was endless apologies instead of endless results. And then Stark says she's the hunter and the rest of the women in the locker room are the prey. And I'm just like, what the fuck? That and that was really just the gist of it. I just don't get it. Like, I feel bad for Nikita Lyons. Like, what the fuck, man? What are we doing? She has to go through this boring, charismaless vacuum. Oh my God, what the fuck? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Zoe Stark is just as bad as Marina Shafir on the mic. Just as bad, if not worse. Oh my God. Oof. Enough said. I'm moving on from this bullshit. Andre Chase, so he's backstage. So Chase asked why he threw the towel in to Duke Hudson last week. Duke says he wants the truth. He does. So he says that Andre was in so much pain and he couldn't stand to watch his Chase means more to him than a wrestling match. He threw the towel in so Chase could fight another day. Because if you go down, Chase you goes down. Hudson says he'll bleed, black and red. Guilty is charged. And he says he's passionate about Chase University. And then Andre Chase accepts his speech and says it's okay. Thea Hell, she shows up. And Duke, he dips out. And then Thea Hell says Duke is kind of growing on her. So, that's pretty cool. Next, Apollo Crews, he's out there talking to Bron Breakker in the locker room. And so, Crews, he grabs a chair, takes a seat, and says he came back to NXT for one reason, the NXT title. Crews said he gets it, and he knows that Bron is sore and tired, but just watch what I do out there tonight, because where one challenge ends, the next begins. Okay. Next, this was so fucking fun, and I loved it. We had in this year, they took on two jobbers, and they absolutely mauled the fuck out of these guys. Oh my God, this shit was so fucking good. Veer tagged in one of the guys and just yanked him over the top rope like he was a fucking basketball. I'm like, oh shit. So Song and Veer, they win via a side slam into a top rope elbow drop for the 3. Post-match, both of them get on the mic. Veer says they have great respect for the Creed brothers and the NXT universe. And he says that fans don't get the same respect for them. Says Sangha. And then Veer says in India, they're treated like celebrities, but they're not appreciated in America. And Sangha and I will no longer stand for it. Sangha says the only way to get respect is by destroying you. And unfortunately, for you brothers, that's what we're going to do. So, I do like this. We'll probably get this match at Deadline. So, I could see that being one of the matches. Moving on, Creed brothers, they come into play. They're determined to maul Indashir and for calling him disillusional and talking about respect. Ivy and Nia and Tatum Paxley, they walk in, and Ivy says they're finally over the Damon Kemp humps. Don't worry, she tells the Creeds. She says Kemp is the reason they aren't NXT Tag Team Champions. And she said they need the belts back. She tells them, don't worry about Indashir. They tell her they can't just let Indashir attack go unanswered. And so Ivy now, she understands it. And they both grant each other luck going forward. So that was pretty cool. I like that. JD McDonough versus Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews wins via a one-hand spine buster. And I think it's time for Apollo to turn heel. In my opinion, I really do. Braun comes out post-match. He barks. And he stares down Apollo. So we know that match is going to take place at Deadline as well. So that's going to be pretty cool. I do think that it's time for Apollo Crews to go heel. All right? I'm tired of this fucking happy-go-lucky shit. Like, that's gotten annoying in my opinion. Moving on. So, Mandy Rose, she's backstage. She's talking to Mackenzie Mitchell. And she says that she heard what Alba Fyre said about her. She does have ears. She was listening. Rose takes the mic and says that she needs the entire world to open up their ears and listen. She's heard all the criticism over the years. From she can't wrestle, she can't hold the title. She's a one-hit wonder. And every cliche you can think of. Here she stands, still champion. Because we're not looking at a cliche, because we're looking at a one in a billion superstar. She knows Fire will bring it, with or without her girls. The title's still staying with Mandy. Because after the night, she'll be the last woman standing. So that was cool. I like this. Next, we had my boy who's starting to grow on me, that being Javier Bernal. He's backstage with Mackenzie Mitchell. And so Mackenzie says that she was talking to Javier Bernal, and he says he's got a lot on his mind. He's the new kid on the block. So he's learned. He can't just let opportunities come to him. He has to seek them out. Bernal says instead of people telling him who he should be facing, he'll just be issuing challenges from now on. So he said he's going to challenge Axiom. And Mackenzie Mitchell's like, look, Axiom is not medically cleared. And then Bernal goes on ranting saying, finally, except Axiom is on the shelf. Bernal calls out Ilya Dragunov. Mackenzie says that he's injured and he's rehabbing in Germany. And Bernal says he'd rather run to Germany if Big Body Javi challenged him as well. And then Javi calls out Gallus, but Mackenzie says they're still suspended, they're not available. And Bernal says Mackenzie's part of the problem, and he rips her, and he accuses her of stopping him from unlocking his true potential. So I like that. It's really fucking cool right there. All right. Another cool segment that I was fucking down for, and this was some really good shit right here. Booker T, along with Carmelo Hayes and Wes Lee for the contract signing for the North American Championship match next week. So Booker, he introduces Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. They come out. Then Wes Lee. So Hayes says it's an honor to be a part of Booker's Fave 5. The real recognizes real. And then Lee says that Booker and Hayes need to realize that Hayes is no longer the A champion. He's the former champion. But Hayes can hold on to that all he wants. It's all good. So Booker mentions Hayes is possibly becoming a 3-time champion next week. And he asks what her thoughts. Hayes says Lee knows he'll go to the absolute limit to keep the title next week, but his absolute limit is where Hayes pulls up and starts from. So Hayes says becoming champion again. He's relentless on becoming champion again. Lee says he just got the title and he didn't understand it. No, that was Trick that said that. So Hayes says Lee's time is over. Trick agrees. Trick says Lee is good and athletic, but he's got nothing on Hayes. Trick says this will all be Lee's first and last title defense. Booker brings up how this is Lee's first title defense. So Wes Lee, he says that everyone knows that he had a tough year this year. He wouldn't believe he was in where he was at a year ago sitting here. He played the hand he was dealt by the universe really well, and from the ashes he climbed the ladder to become champion. Next week he'll solidify the man he's become, showing the world how he's the new standard, and he'll risk everything. And so then they both signed the contract. They still jaw jack both Wes Lee and Carmelo Hayes. They're jaw jack. And so Booker's like, nah, it ain't going down like that, because they're about to do a table spot. And like Booker's like, nah, it ain't going down like that. And I really dug it. This was some really good shit. So we all know that Wes Lee is going to retain next week. That's a given. Like I said, I think what they're going to do with Carmelo Hayes is probably going to put him in the Iron Survivor Challenge and have him win. Another horrible segment from Dominic Dijakovic. Oh, fuck this guy. He's so damn boring and annoying. So he says that truth is never simple until he's sitting across the table. He says NXT is a soft society, but soon that will change because he's not a product of his environment. His environment is a product of him, and hard justice is on its way to NXT. Who gives a fuck? Seriously. Next, we get a backstory as to why Inoue wears his sweater vest from his pops. So Malik Blade and Odyssey Jones and Idris Inoue, they're backstage. So Jones is hyping him up, keeping the momentum going. Jones asked Blade about his sweater vest. He said it's about his late father, who was a pastor. And said his father was all about wearing the best clothes around. He goes on and says how his father passed, and he found many of his sweater vests in plastic in their attic. Blade says that's why he wears them, to honor his pops and to follow his advice. So Jones, he hypes up Blade and Inoue, and then they dip out. So I like this. This is kind of cool, I guess, but we don't need to know why he wears a sweater vest. It's not important. Really, it's not. It's not. Briggs and Jensen, the boring fucking Cowboys, they were in action versus the Dyad. So the Dyad wins. because Kiana James got involved, and her and Fallon Henley, that came to blows. Okay, cool, I guess. Who gives a fuck, though? And then we get Indy Hartwell versus Tatum Paxley. Hartwell, she wins. So that's good for her. So, Roxanne Perez, she's still out there. She's kind of being very judgmental towards Indy. So, Perez, she congratulates Indy on her win, but says that she may have went too far with hurting Tatum because she did remove her mask during the match. Indy insults Roxanne Perez and says she'll do anything to get into the Iron Survivor Challenge, and if she has to break someone's nose, then that's exactly what she's going to do. And then Indy storms off and dips out. Main event: Mandy Rose versus Alba Fyre. Last woman standing match. So, towards the end of the match, Alba Fyre, she attempts to do a swanton through the announce table, but out of nowhere, Isla Dawn from NXT UK, she comes out. She missed Fyre, and then she shoves Alba Fyre, and then Alba Fyre falls to the table, and she's unable to answer the count of 10, but Mandy's able to get up before the count of 10. So Mandy retains, still NXT Women's Champion. I like this. This is fine. I'm down with it. It makes sense. And we all know Mandy's not losing the title anytime soon. I'm trying to think. Did they call her up around WrestleMania, or did they call her up around the Royal Rumble? Which one? I really don't know. I still think that who's going to be the one to dethrone Mandy is going to be Nikita Lyons. Possibly Roxanne Perez, but more than likely it'll be Nikita Lyons, the way things are going. Because this whole Zoe Stark feud that she's in now, hopefully it's not going to be long. Hopefully it'll be over with probably after NXT New Year's Evil in January, and I'll be fine with that. Having Isla Dawn there, that's fine. I didn't really pay too much attention to NXT UK. I really didn't. I know that her gimmick was like this pagan witch, kind of cool. So I've heard she's an okay wrestler, and that's fine. But I think her character work is decent. But we don't need any more supernatural characters on NXT. We just don't. We really don't. But I'm fine with it though. And before I forget, we got to talk about scripts. So we get another cryptic message from Scripps. He says, "Your cameras couldn't catch him. He got your past guards with ease. My bad. He got past your guards with ease. Now that he's here, everything after this will only be a breeze. Because he's fast as lightning, he's smarter than you think. Moves are incredible. Missed him if you blink. Next week, you will see that you and I aren't the same. So tell me who's first to play a little game. Sincerely, Scripps." So we don't know who Scripps is going to be. We don't know. To me, I'm excited to see who it's going to be. I'm not really too much concerned. It'll probably be somebody from NXT's past, I would assume. But that's all people care about, It's not really that important. But overall, this was an okay episode of NXT. It really was. So on that note, thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. That Zoe Starks promo was fucking awful.
Everybody has